What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first video of 2024. Here's a tank before the wall scraping. Got some algae here and there. And try to scrape some of this algae on some of the rocks, try to get rid of it. And we'll start going over some of the changes in the tank. Tossing in some of the blue hibnia for them to munch on. We'll munch on that. Kind of float around. Tank's clearing up a little bit. This is probably like maybe an hour after scraping, and we got some debris floating around here. It's not terrible. So look at that real quick. Eating away at that macroalgae. I'll do that occasionally, every week, where some things are a little bit overgrown. I'll grab it and just kind of toss it in here for them to munch on. And they enjoy a little bit, something a little bit different, you know, instead of just like the nori or the seaweed that they get every other day. So there's the other piece just floating around here. So we'll let them kind of munch on that. Oh, the other piece got trapped back here. Yeah, they'll eat that eventually. All right, so I'm just gonna go over some of the new things that we've gotten or changed in the tank, and then we'll kind of look at some of the corals and whatnot as well. First off, I'm still battling algae in the tank, as you can see back here. Tons of algae, just algae in the rock everywhere. And I am still slowly adding more cleanup crews into the tank, but they get destroyed by the fish, by the hermit crabs. We've got another pile here of them. But just more recently, I added in a bunch more tropheus, a bunch more turtle snails, and then a couple of these guys here. They'll burrow into the sand to kind of get rid of the diatom and the algae that's kind of on the layer of sand here. I did add in one more conch snail just because it looks like, you know, one side will be kind of clean, the other side wouldn't be. So it seems like we can add a little bit more guys in here just to help with the algae control. And I'll probably do maybe a couple more batches of snails to kind of top off, you know, the algae control in the tank. I'm thinking maybe another like 10 turbos and probably another like 20 tropheus will probably be kind of where this tank needs to be in terms of cleanup crews, and that's assuming that the snails don't get eaten or killed or whatever, and not getting replenished from, like, you know, the depleted snails that have basically got destroyed from the fish and whatnot. So no new corals. We're going to let everything kind of grow in, move stuff around a little bit. So our magic carpet's in front now here. The piece of rock that had all the mushroom in here, I traded in just because we already have one rock with it back here, one rock in the corner back there with that. So didn't want to have too many similar rocks with just, you know, mushrooms. I would like to get some of these other mushrooms to grow out, and then we'll have rocks of their own. So that piece I had to move over here because over here it was kind of getting loose, and the way I was gluing it on here, as you can see, it's not a flat surface, so not all the glue got onto that area. So I moved over here, and that's the little piece that was fragged. I had it over here somewhere. I just ended up moving it closer so that I know that, you know, these are the same similar frags that came out of it, because we also have another similar one, but that one's over there. The SPS are looking okay. We have some maybe slight concern with the Walt Disney here. That one back there, it's starting to get a little bit brown on this side. So that might end up going, and I know that they're kind of finicky in terms of the acros. Some of the other ones here are doing better than it. So we'll see. I mean, if we end up losing it, we'll just keep the ones that are growing fine for us, split it, and just kind of move stuff around. But I think in terms of acro, I probably won't add in any more acro. Oh, I take it back. I did add in one new acro. We'll have to go over down here. That was added towards the end of 2023, and it didn't make it into the video, but it was in there. So we'll kind of go across here. Look at that slimer, that green slimer. We have the little nub in the back there that's kind of growing. So I'm happy to see that that's expanding. Manti Pacquiao is back here. That one's looking good. Color wise, that's how I can tell, because I can't really see from like head on here. The color is green, so looking decent, I guess. Moving across here, still got some color here. So Here's a PC rainbow that we have here. A little concern. We got the very top here. I don't know if you can see that. The very top of that guy. Looks like something bit it. I think it was one of the angels that either accidentally bit it off, or it could have been like a piece of like algae or food that was on it and it bit the corner, just because I haven't seen the fish pick at any of the other acro. I just noticed that that one corner got kind of bit. So I'm thinking it's more of an accident. And then over here, encrusting, so that one's looking good. This one here though, look at this. We're having some new growth on top. Look at that. It's like splitting into 3 different things. So that one's looking good. Over here is a split from the digi in the back here. That one got chipped, and that one I just edited there. I edited here because I think eventually we need something to fill the top. Obviously I would like to have the acro on there, or one of the acros on here, but most likely like one of these that are closest to here. Once they kind of get a little bit taller to the top, I can break off a piece or something and put it on top. If that doesn't work, we can put that guy up there or something like that. We'll see. We'll see. Over here is the new one. This is the Oregon Tort. It's the blue one. Try to change up a little bit in terms of color. Got that more recently, so can't really say that's doing good or not. It's just, it still has its color, you know. It's been, I would say 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. And then the mystery one. The mystery one is looking really good, so can't complain there. Then since we're over here, we don't have anything on the racks back there. I don't have any frags, but most likely when I do, most likely that piece back there, the biggest digi I have, I'll start fragging that and putting it on top of there. But I'm gonna wait for that to kind of grow a little more. Over here, the mushrooms. Oh, the baby mushroom, the Godzilla. Let's take a look real quick. I don't know, you can kind of see it. This angle is kind of weird, but it's on the very top of that. It's like a little baby Godzilla. I mean, this one is already a baby, but there's another baby that split or had popped a little baby. All right, so now moving to the bottom, the sump. This is probably the biggest change here. So I remove the skimmer with the ozone because we can't really run ozone right now. PR is too high. I have the filter socks in temporarily because I was, you know, scraping all the algae. I wanted to catch everything. I normally keep it in, every time I do a water change or scrape anything, I keep it in here for like 2 hours, 3 hours tops, and I pull this. This is my refugium area. So this is the carper area where it's growing. And yeah, so you really can't see anything, but that's that. This is probably the biggest change. Added in some more of these 3D printed racks. Got different colors this time. I went with purple, and I think it looks green, but it's yellow. Pretty nice. And then the clams are doing good. The Chryseas at least is doing good. The Maxima though, it really hasn't fully extended. That's as big as it will open right there, like that. I think that it's either not a completely healthy clam, or the way it's like grabbing onto the disc back there, it's not sitting straight. I don't know, like the way that this clam has, or it form, it rocks back and forth, so it doesn't really have a flat surface. But as you can see here, the Chryseas, they're like fully open, right? But this guy here doesn't want to do that. Also, the other thing that might be slightly different is these guys here are aquaculture, and then that one is, I believe wild caught. So I know the wild caught ones are a little bit more finicky in terms of getting, you know, acclimated to your reef. It's definitely giving the par. When I moved the lights apart here, the par went down to like maybe like 170-ish, and then so I had to turn up these intensity a little bit. So now it's back to like 280 to 300. Some of them are maybe like, it's like in the center here where both lights are hitting, it's like close to 350. I'm slowly probably going to bring it up a little bit more. The nem in the back here is loving it. This is the only nem that's in the sump. I moved all the other nems back up to the display tank. Really just that nem is there for the 2 clownfish down here, but they don't really host it anyways. We'll see. They've been breeding. They had bred like a batch of eggs back in the corner there, under there, so they're kind of like just chilling under here, right? They're looking pretty good. Happy. The blue hypnia is taking over. We got a patch all over here. Got more patches over here, more patches down here. The only problem with these guys is they do catch like debris and whatnot, and as you can see, like this algae will grow on it. So that's the only drawback. Shallots that I've been doing, I don't even remember. It was just like tiny piece. This thing's starting to grow now, which is awesome. The colors starting to come in. You got the eyes forming. So I'm happy to see that, and that's doing pretty good for the last 3 months now. Almost 3 months, 2.5 months. That's looking pretty good. The other things that I've done was I added in some new pods for just to replenish for the reef. That was added like maybe a week ago. I also got live reef sand that I added into the tank. I just added in directly just because it was just like a jar. If you don't want to do that, or you don't have sand, or you don't want to keep the sand here, there's a jar that comes in, and the direction is just place a jar into the tank and you just let it sit in the tank for a couple of weeks, and the beneficial bacteria, the microorganisms from the sand will go into your sand and whatnot. And decided to kind of just diversify to help with potentially helping with the algae. And I noticed that maybe a couple of days after adding in the sand, it might be that, it might not be, I noticed that the algae like reduction went down, and then also my phosphate went down. So this tank it's definitely running high phosphate, higher than what I like to be, but it's consistent. I can't really change it. I'm running also GFO, and really trying to keep up with the water changes and whatnot. But I'm still surprised because the SPS are doing decent for high phosphate. It's like 0.48 to 0.5, and then after adding like the sand here, 2 days later, 3 days later, I tested it again and it dropped to 0.3, 3 like something. So it looks like it's helping out with the consumption of phosphate. Again, I didn't really change anything other than adding that, and then like the pods, like maybe a week before adding the sand. So, and I tested it. It came out the same after the pod. So I'm thinking the sand, the live sand, and this sand isn't just like any sand where you just buy from a bag. This was like from the ocean. And what's cool about this company is they test it and whatnot to make sure that you don't have any pathogens. They actually send you this crazy like thing here. I'll show you guys real quick. So they send you the certificate where they do a report on the sample, and what kind of bacteria and whatnot that's in it, ick, all that kind of stuff that could potentially be bad for a reef tank. And yeah, I mean, this thing is pretty cool. They do them in batches, so they get sold out pretty fast. Check them out. I'll probably wait until they get the next batch to do like rubble, so like rock rubble, where they have like coralline algae and other stuff like that that's on it. And I'll add that like rubble pieces into the tank, and we'll see if that makes a difference as well, because things that grow on the rock are slightly different than things that are growing under the sand and whatnot. It'll diversify the bacteria that's in this tank, and that's really what I want. Oh, before I let you guys go here, I did also make a water station outside in the garage. Let me go ahead and show you guys that real quick. I almost forgot. I've been working on this as well. So I did mention in one of the videos that I wanted to do a water station, dedicated RODI water station. I've been trying to get rid of some stuff, and the 40 tank breeder's kind of taking up some room where I can, put it for somewhere. So this is my water station here that I just built last week, and I'm waiting for the silicones to dry. So I used these uniseals, and I think I had it drilled slightly too low, where like this area isn't just a surface like this, it's also this plus like a bend this way, a curve. So it's like leaking slightly in the bottom here, slightly in the bottom there. Just use silicone to silicone this, silicone the inside. I'm just waiting for it to dry. It takes this silicone at least to do a full strength, it takes a week to dry. So tomorrow-ish, actually no, I'm sorry, today, it will be ready for me to do a field test. I did a field test like last week once, it was no silicone and it had like a very small drip. I was like, yeah, I can deal with the drip, or I can just, silicone it. I'll just silicone it. So It's silicone, but it's just brute trash cans. These are 44 gallons, so slightly bigger than the one I have with the 40 breeder. And it's 2 of them, so I can have RO and then just salt, pre-mix, everything will be ready to go. Nothing too fancy. I had a bunch of these unions sitting around actually from previous builds and things that I just ended up not using. And so it was able to kind of just slap this together. And we got hoses here to kind of fill in buckets. We also got a big hose down here to connect it to here, so that if I want to just directly do a huge water change or just not want to do buckets, I can just plug it into here, go run it all the way to the tank inside. It's only like maybe, I would say like, 10 feet from here to there. Run it there, fill it up, I can just turn this on, have the pump do all the work. This pump is an M1. I had, I'm not using it. That pump actually was the pump that was running for this whole rack that I had here with the saltwater rack. So I'm now using it for this. And then the way this is plumbed is it goes in, and I'll show you real quick. It runs through here. This is gonna be my salt side. This isn't glued, so I can kind of remove it or wherever I need to. It goes down, and then I have it teeing off where it can kind of push water on the bottom in a circle, and it'll kind of just circulate it a little bit without having to have a pump, whatever, down here. So nothing too crazy. I think I just watched one of a couple videos and decided to use a couple of combinations of things that I liked that other people had built for their water station, and just kind of did my own thing and create something like this. Also up here I have a float valve on this side, so that way when it's filling, once it hits the top, it won't overfill, because I had a problem with my other tank down there. I overfill it at least a handful of times, probably up to a dozen times, just because I would forget or whatever. So if I forget this time, it won't overfill, so it's gonna be a good thing. But yeah, so that was my other mini project that I did, or something new that I've been working on. So this is pretty much good to go. I'm going to fill it up and probably run one batch of water through here. I already rinsed out the bucket, but it still has a weird smell from the glue, all the stuff that I had to put through. And then also these pipes I reused. I didn't buy new ones because I didn't, I had some, so basically everything here was just reused parts. And so there's dirt and stuff in here. So I need to basically fill up this tank, run it through here, run it through the pump and push it through here, check all the leaks, everything's good, drain it completely out, flush it, and then refill it up to make sure everything is good and clean. So yeah, that's my new water station. All right, so that's pretty much the update for the Reef tank. Still working through this. The water change day is actually tomorrow for me. I just did some scraping, slightly scrape, so that you guys can actually see the tank. And then plus that will reduce my maintenance tomorrow, because I don't have to end up scraping the rocks. I'll just have to do a mini siphon on some of this area. But I think that most of the algae on the sand is starting to kind of go away. And hopefully these guys aren't going to be too mean to the goby that's outside in the quarantine tank, because I want to really add in a goby to sift a lot of the sand, because they will do all that work for me without having to do the siphon during the water changes. All right, that's all I got for you guys for today. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. And like always, till next time, guys, peace.